On June 6, 2004, I was there. Headed into the summer of 2004, my life was drifting aimlessly in space, and there was nothing in sight to cling on to. I experienced joy and pain in a 24-hour period at the end of May. I would finally finish community college and got a degree of some kind. I really didn't put it to use. It was a simple associate's degree in liberal studies, and it hangs in my den. I am proud of what I had done, finishing something I started back in 1995, but I didn't celebrate too hard. A thick sense of sadness hung over me. The next morning, my girlfriend at the time vacated the apartment she was living in and left my town. She then went back to the East Bay, and then she and her family were set to move to Southern California. We didn't do the long distance thing. In fact, we were pretty much broken up a week before she moved. I was still unemployed after I finished college, and my ex moved away. That's when I started looking for a job. Until then, every day for a while, I woke up looking for some purpose to my existence. Wake up, work out, read, play video games, do something around the house, work on the highlight reels, watch movies, the occasional hanging out with friends, watch sports, sleep, repeat. While there was pain in my heart, later on down the line, I saw it as a blessing in disguise. At that time, I no longer owed any woman anything. Not my time, not my money, no obligations whatsoever. I truly was free, but I was still saddened, meaning I learned nothing after what I had endured in 2002. My confidence was at an all-time low. Instead of feeling like a clean slate, I still felt like nobody without that special somebody. I would experience more growing pains and would discover a lot about myself for the next year or so. Okay, I think I bored you enough about my morose existence at that time. I have a ball game to talk about. Last time I was at the Coliseum was 2 weeks ago. Boy, I really didn't have much going for me. Anyway, I saw the A's beat the Royals in extra innings when a young Zach Greinke made his major league debut and Mr. October got his number retired. The A's continued to chase the Anaheim Angels for the AL West's top spot. The Angels had a 3.5 game lead on the A's, and that number wasn't going down at all. Well, there was May 27th when the A's beat the Red Sox and the Angels lost in Toronto. Then it went back up on May 29th. A's lost to Cleveland. The Angels put runs on the board against the White Sox. For a whole week, the Angels continued to maintain their division lead. On the day before this game, the A's won and the Angels lost to the Indians. Another game gained. So here we are on Little League Day at the Coliseum or something. The A's were looking to avoid a split in a 4-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays. A team since they won their last World Series in 1993 has been stuck in neutral. This team would consistently finish no higher than third in the AL East nearly every single year between 1994 to 2014. 2004 was one of those years where they finished at the bottom. The Jays were not the spectacular car crashes the Royals and Diamondbacks were, but this was one of those teams that would fire the manager if things didn't change, which was what they did in the middle of a road trip in August as Carlos Tosca was told by the Jays brass to scram. They did have guys I recognized because they were either former A's players or Giants players, Frank Manaquino, Ted Lilly, and Bobby Estalella. They did have a pitcher who would become a posthumous inductee to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 2019. 2-time Cy Young Award winner, one for each league, 8-time All-Star, and he would join a rare group of pitchers to throw a no-hitter in the postseason. The man they called Doc, Roy Halladay. Sadly, Halladay was killed in a plane crash in 2017 at the age of 40. Starting pitcher for the Blue Jays was Jason Kirschner. Kirschner didn't play long in the majors. He was claimed by the Jays off waivers from San Diego in 2002. He was more of a reliever than a starter in those 2 seasons. In fact, this was the only game he would start and get a decision for in the 2004 season. He had one more appearance 10 days later against the Giants, and Kirschner never pitched in the majors again. He would spend a few years in the minor leagues after the 2004 season, but nothing came of it. Starting pitcher for the A's, someone who wasn't one of the 3 Moneyball aces, Mark Redman. In his nomadic career, Redman did have a World Series ring somewhere in there. Oh, it was in 2003 with the Marlins where he won 14 games and had a career-best 3.59 ERA. He was traded to the A's in the offseason to be a 4th starter after the team traded Lilly to Toronto. As mentioned, Redman didn't stay with the A's for long. He spent 1 season with the team before being traded to the Pirates in the offseason. Along with a World Series appearance, Redman did appear in an All-Star game in 2006 as a member of the Royals. In the top of the first, Redmond had little trouble. He got out of the inning unscathed despite a single by Reed Johnson. In the bottom of the first, the A's would have a rally where they batted around. We'll start with Eric Burns leading off. On this day, the left field bleachers would be known as the Eric Burns Fan Club. On the second pitch from Kirschner, that's where Burns would launch it. How do I know? Well, let me play the clip. There's someone you might know that sat there.
Blue Jays with the continuing list.
Burns hits it very high, very deep, and very gone. Number 5 for Burns. The A's have the lead.
The next batter, Bobby Crosby, hit a double to center. Bobby Kilty flied out to center, and Crosby tagged up to third. Next up, Jermaine Dye kept the rally going.
Dye delivers with a RBI single to center, and the A's lead 2-0.
After Scott Hatteberg flied out, the A's were not done yet. 1992 NL Rookie of the Year and longtime Dodger Eric Karros was on his last season in the majors with the A's. He would draw a walk. With Damian Miller up, another former Cub that joined the A's with Karros, Dye and Karros would pull off a double steal. After the stolen bases, Miller would add more to the early rally.
Jamming fingers and bags, and there's a base hit. Dye will score. Karros rounds. He'll head home. It's cut off. 4-0 A's.
Mark McLemore would strike out to end the inning, but the Jays were going to have a large hill to climb. Redmond wasn't making it easy, retiring the Blue Jays in order in the second and third innings and keeping them off the board in the fourth despite giving up a double and a walk. Kirschner pitched a couple of more innings after the 4-run disaster in the first, only giving up a hit in the second. Aquilino Lopez would take over for Kirschner in the bottom of the fourth and continue to keep the A's off the board. In the top of the fifth, the Jays would try to make it interesting. Chris Gomez led off with a walk. Josh Phelps hit a double to left. The next batter, Alex Rios, would draw a walk and load the bases. Next up, former A's second baseman Frank Manaquino, who was traded to the Jays less than a month ago. One thing about hitters on Billy Beane's Moneyball clubs in the early 2000s is their plate patience and their batters having a high on-base percentage. Long story short, the Blue Jays would begin to chip away at the 4-run lead as Manaquino's patience paid off.
Redmond needs an out and a strike and doesn't get it. Toronto is on the board via a bases-loaded walk for Frank Manaquino.
Eric Hinsky would add one more to the board with a sacrifice fly to center.
Hit very high and deep. Burns has it. The runners tag and advance, and the Blue Jays add another.
The Jays would inch closer as Reed Johnson sacrificed himself to drive in Rios.
To Crosby, a run will score, but they get the second out. Manaquino had nowhere to go in second.
After Redmond walked his third batter of the inning, Vernon Wells, he would finally get out of the inning after he got Greg Zahn to ground out. Lopez would keep the Jays in the game, taking care of the A's in the fifth, despite giving up a walk to Kilty. Redmond's day would end as Justin Dukeshire would come on and retire the Blue Jays in order in the sixth.
Could set up two here. Herman to Crosby. And hit the ball, hit the runner. And
It's called a double play.
double play, yeah.
Because he stood up and
Yep.
done it. Or put his hand up.
Seems like it's
Taylor made double play, and here's what happened as Estelea came in.
Vinny Cholk would take the ball for Toronto in the bottom of the sixth and kept the game close by doing the same thing Dukeshire did. Dukeshire would respond with another scoreless 1-2-3 inning in the top of the seventh. Cholk would stay for another inning. With one out, Burns walked and Crosby singled to center. After Kilty popped out in that huge foul territory for out number 2, Dye walked to load the bases. Cholk would get the hook and Kerry Lightenberg would try to get the Blue Jays out of the bases loaded jam so they could have a chance. Along comes Scott Hatteberg to wreck the dreams of Blue Jay fans everywhere.
Ford Durazo set the game to extra innings for the A's. One turns on at that, and it is a fair ball. 1 run in, 2 runs in. They're waving die home. The relay. Not in time. Bases clearing, double for Scott Hatteberg.
The nightmare continued as Arubio Durazo was given a free pass, but that was the end after Miller flied out to center. Dukeshire would have himself another easy-peasy 1-2-3 inning in the 8th. In the bottom of the 8th, Toronto would keep Lightenberg on the hill. He would get himself into another bases-loaded jam, giving up back-to-back-to-back singles to McLemore, Esteban Germán, and Burns. Jason Frazier would be called in to get out of the jam. Well, for starters, he would get Crosby to ground into a double play. More insurance for the A's, however.
3-1 pitch. Shattered. Hinsky gets 1. They turn 2 with a run will score.
Kilty would strike out to show the Jays some mercy. In the top of the 9th, Arthur Rhodes would come on to finish the job. Despite giving up a lead-off single to Estrella, he got Chris Gomez and Josh Phelps to strike out.
And 3. Smoke.
Then Rhodes would take care of Rios with ease.
To Alex Rios. To the right side, Germán. And the A's have won their 5th straight home series.
Combine this win with another Angels loss to the Indians, the A's would gain another game in the standings. I would keep telling the story of this season, but I would be coming back to the Coliseum sooner than I thought I would. I got to be part of an unofficial fan section on TV on a beautiful Sunday afternoon when I was there on June 6th, 2004.
Well, the Eric Burns fan club, and they stood up and said, yes, here it comes, catch it for our main guy. There they are. Eric Burns fan club.